Hello everyone, this is Sarthak Dhyana from Durham College. The agenda of this assignment is to draw a visualization-driven analytics over a case study. To start with, I took a case study of a 3-year sales portfolio of Idea Mobiles. Idea Mobiles is a mobile shopping superstore with its operations in Asia. Ideally, the phone has a revenue of around $4 billion per annum and deals in 9 brands of flagship phones. The data that is given to us comprises of the total revenue from each of these cell phones, the total expenses that are incurred, and the data is segregated into the yearly basis as well as the quarterly basis. The data is derived from data.world website in an XLSX format, and it has been processed in the Jupyter notebook for data cleansing and data manipulation. And finally, the visualization charts has been drawn through PowerBI. The analysis would help us in identifying the key area of focus for the Idea Mobile Store company, uh, in which they can handle the maximized profits and they can shift their attention towards a particular product or maybe change their strategy towards diversification or propose a new sales pitch maybe. So that has been a factor of all the visualizations. Starting with the data cleansing, we did this in the Jupyter notebook. As could be seen over here, we imported the 4 libraries, the NumPy, Pandas, Matplotlib, and SNS later. So Pandas library was initially imported to import the data into the Jupyter notebook in the form of data frames. An initial overlook, we saw that this data had many inadmissible values like the question mark over here and the none values over here. Further overview stated that the features had integer and string as the data type. So when we started with the cleansing process, initially I removed the columns that were redundant to our analysis. Then later on, uh, using this code, I identified the total number of inadmissible values. And finally, I dropped the duplicate values, and now we are left with 3512 records spread over the 6 features. Using that np.n, I converted all the inadmissible values to one constant n values and dropped these using the drop.na function. I later rechecked and found all these values coming out to be 0. I then jumped onto the data visualization and I saw that income income generated from the iPhones have the maximum revenue out of the uh, other flagship brands. Samsung follows the second, and OnePlus is a close third, while the Xiaomi and Oppo have the least revenues earned. Again, as expected, I saw that income and expenses are directly have a direct relationship. They are perfectly collinear with each other, and that is a strong regression line could be obtained, and which was as expected, with a slight exception of Xiaomi phones, which have a lower IE ratio, that is the income expense ratio, which is actually, I would say, which I had anticipated because of their sales strategy to enter into the low segment market zone area. Or another reason could be these phones are being sold as a part of a loss leader. Thirdly, I witnessed that when I'm aggregating the data on quarterly basis for all the 3 years, the quarter one has a significant low number of sales, while the quarter two, three, and four have a almost leveled sales, which we would be further analyzing in this project. Moving on back to the PPT. Slide 4, 3 and 4 over here discusses the data cleansing and data visualization points that we just discussed. Moving on to our analysis, all these graphs following have been derived from the Power BI. So here, if you observe that in the yearly net cash flows by account type graph in the yearly basis, we are seeing that the net profits are falling every year with a decline in income levels. When I try to visualize this on a quarterly basis, I found out that every time after the quarter four, there is a certain dip in the quarter one, and the sales revert back to its original position, but is only partially able to do so every new year. So this is particular finding that needs to be further analyzed upon as to why the Q1 always notices a significant dip. Moving on further to the next graph, the experience analysis shows what the IDA Mobile Store team has predicted its sales and expense to be and what it actually was. It has done a pretty good job in predicting its expense and its revenue overall in a way that we see that these lines are close together. Moreover, the good guy over here for us is that the expense part has always been lower than the one predicted, and income part has been upper than the one predicted. Although on the holistic basis, income levels have been falling on year-to-year basis, which is a real bad guy for us over here. Finally, on the product side, I try to analyze the products as to how the share has been relatively on year-to-year basis, and I saw that iPhone sales have decreased from 2017 to 19, and so has the sales of OnePlus, which has caused a major impact in our overall income levels. Samsung has tried to retain its position while Xiaomi has gained its revenue and the demand for Xiaomi has risen, but it does not compensate for the overall loss in the income levels. Then further, we try to analyze the IE ratio of the various branding phones, and we saw that for iPhone, the IE ratio stands at 70 to 30. That is that 70% is the income and 30% is the expense, which makes it a profitable device. While the Xiaomi has an income distribution of 55 to 40, and whereas we can see that 5% is the additional taxation level here that is not there in the iPhone. Uh, Another finding over here, or the next question, follow-up question would be to judge whether this taxation has been missing accidentally from the data, or it is some legislative subsidiary kind of thing, or it is some discount offer maybe going on, or what is the reason behind the missing taxation over here. Moving on further on the summarized scales basis, we are trying to analyze the impact of taxes over here on the profit. So I've summarized into profit before taxes and after taxes on the parameters of brand and the aggregate value over the year, where we are seeing that taxes have less than 1% impact on all the brands except Xiaomi and Oppo. So moving on further to the Power BI presentation, here we can see. Here I have initially created a graph which shows us the decline in the revenue, and I created a hierarchical structure of this which shows us the decline in revenue based on the quarters. Then secondly, I have created all these graphs that were presented in PPT are already here. I have created 3 additional filter tabs over here to navigate on the uh, particular part of the project, and I have included the actual profits realized figure over the here, which tells us about the aggregate profits from all the 3 years. Suppose if I filter this out on the 2019 data, uh, we would see that all the figures have changed and the actual profit realized has become $1.93 billion. Now, even if if I want to focus on the account types for that matter, we are seeing here that as I have selected onto the income levels, and if I revert it back to the annual scales, this is only showing us the data of 2019 income, and here also we are only seeing the data of 2019. If I remove all this and if I want to study for per se for a product, say iPhone, we see here that when in the case of iPhone, the sales have initially increased from 2017 to 18, and then it has again taken a dip in 2019, as evident from this graph as well as all the other graphs. Again, this is a matrix highlighting all the summaries. To conclude with the presentation, we have noticed the following points: that the sales have dipped by 5% annually, and in the 3 years there has been 15% short in the sales. Secondly, we observed that the bigger impact has been created due to reduce in sales in the iPhone and the OnePlus. And apart from that, we have noticed that each brand, on average, the brands have a profit margin, or we can say the IE ratio of 2:1, which is, I suppose, a very good margin. And the final point is that the idea has been really instrumental in monitoring its experience and making reasonable predictions on the sales amount, which would help them manage their inventories or help them reduce their redundancy cost in the future. Our further follow-up questions would be to see if the data here is all complete and all legit, and secondly, if more data could be collected or there are any data errors that could be further recognized, which have been imported while importing these data from the admin systems. That's a part of this assignment. Thank you, everyone.